I'm trying not to crash out because I hate liberals.
You have people who are not on the left who are being surrounded by this activism that is an opportunity for them to then join the cause.
Bernie
In
support,
2016, he was a Bernie bro, and I was with her, and it almost ended our relationship.
Changing your ways, change your ways. We're changing your name, change your name. Cheater, lie.
I'm excited. I want you to go. I don't know if you know the Platt family dynamics and why this is drama, but if you don't, I will happily explain. Okay. You want to come on and explain? Or do you want to just type in chat? Either one is fine. Because I'm just sitting here I'm trying not to crash out. I'm trying not to crash out because I hate liberals. Let me call you on Discord. Okay. Do it. It's been a minute. Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Can you hear me?
Chat, can you hear you? I think I can hear you. Hold on. We're just going to talk because...
Can I just tell you, my parents are here. They only will drink hot coffee, and I only drink iced coffee. So this morning, my mom and dad are up really early, and they're like, hey, what's the coffee situation? I was like, oh my God, I'll just order you guys coffee. And they went, what does that mean? And I said, yeah, I'll just order you coffee. What do you want? They're like, what? You can do that? I was like, yes, I can order you coffee. They were so fascinated. They wanted to see the whole process of it. So I walked them through how I go onto Uber Eats and order them coffee. And then they were waiting by the door to see the coffee arrive. And it was just, you know
they've never gotten they've never used Uber Eats or Postmates or anything like that.
So.
Honestly, they're more woke than you at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
you
my
are a
parents,
delivery addictee.
I know. I'm a little treatlerite. It's not as if my parents live under a rock. They just, I guess, didn't understand the concept of ordering coffee. Okay, so anyway, let me just explain this to you before I gotta go out and, I don't know, look at antique
Hold on,
stuff
let me steal your viewers first. They've got to be around.
I see some of them in here.
Okay, good.
They know why I want to talk about this.
Go. Explain it.
Okay. So, do you remember when Jonah Platt, who is Ben Platt's older brother, and the only reason people know who he is because of maybe the most embarrassing Instagram comment of all time. So this was when the Disney Rachel Zegler Snow White shit was happening, where, Rachel Zegler has advocated for Palestine. She has told Trump supporters to fuck off. And then she was starring opposite of Gal Gadot in My Favorite Actress in Snow White. So this movie was always going to be a bomb. This movie was not set up for success.
Not to distract you too much, but are you anti the remakes with live actors, or
I fucking hate them. No, I despise them, especially Snow White from the get-go. It looked bad. Nobody wanted it. And there was just no way that this film was going to make money. Okay. So anyway, what Disney did though, they took advantage of the fact that the right for years has been so horrible to Rachel Zegler. The Quartering has made, I think, 500 videos on her. If you go to YouTube and type in Rachel Zegler's name, it's all hate videos on her, because a lot of people on the right who do quote unquote pop culture commentary, this is what they do. They'll just make the most disgusting, reactionary,
I searched her.
Right-wing filth. Seriously, if
the critical drinker, crash and burn, the Rachel Zegler story.
Avita faces backlash. This is all bullshit. Okay, it's just all feeding into the reactionary culture wars.
Isn't ITV Israeli news?
Yes, I think so. They have gone after her.
1,500 views, and it's the second result for Rachel Zegler. What?
Yeah. So like this is something I talk about all the time where like, look, most people on the left, even if you do pop culture commentary like I do, you're not going to make a video on Rachel Zegler every single fucking day like people on the right do. You know, the quartering has nothing better to do with
Her
his
life
time
is ruined now.
than to make hate videos on her. Okay, so she's a very, very easy target. Lot of views, you know, to be had if you make a hate video on Rachel Zegler. So Disney took advantage of the disgusting right-wing hate against her and essentially threw her under the bus for the failures of this film, acting as if this one girl, this one actress, was responsible for this abysmal box office failure. Okay, like poor multi-billion-dollar corporation Disney, just the little guy here. Okay, so somebody on Instagram commented under Jonah Platt, and Jonah Platt's father is Mark Platt, who is a huge producer on Broadway and in Hollywood. He did Legally Blonde, he did Wicked. Very, very, like
very
one
rich.
of the biggest producers, very rich. And he has 3 sons. The most famous one is Ben, who you see right there. And then Jonah is the oldest. And Jonah's a fail son. Okay. And now he just has like a podcast where he brings on Zionists who complain about how hard it is, that like who like talk about how they're victims. Okay. This is like what Jonah Platt does now. He just has this podcast and he brings on the most obnoxious people and they cry. So somebody on Instagram, just some random, commented under Jonah Platt's, like one of his Instagram posts where it was a clip of his podcast. And they said, your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress because there was so much reporting around like the Rachel Zegler and Disney. And it came out that Mark Platt had flown to New York to basically yell at her for her political, you know, quote unquote, political posts. Sorry, advocating for Palestinians being against genocide is like a political statement. Okay, so somebody wrote...
Well, that doesn't make any sense because, wait, can I interrupt you real quick? Because isn't one of the biggest Disney stars right now Pedro? And he's probably one of the most political actors in Hollywood today.
Yes, but
like, you know what I mean?
You are misunderstanding that Rachel Zegler, she is a young Latina actress who is a very easy target for people on the right. You think they're going to go after Pedro?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not the political thing. It's bullshit.
It's same with Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo has been out here like
Ruffalo was like helping me when I was trying to do state rep shit in 2018. That's how political he's been and how long.
They leave him alone, but like,
of course they do.
It's like a big part of this is because of misogyny. Like Rachel is a perfect target for the right. And so that's why she gets so much hatred. Remember when like her casting was announced, they went, ew, Snow White, hello, white is in the name. And it's like, okay, she is. So she's either too Latina or not Latina enough. Anyway. Yeah. So back to this Instagram comment. Someone said to Jonah Platt, your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No, shame on your father. This got like maybe 9 likes until Jonah Platt responded and said, you really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability. And her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. No, it didn't. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say what you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something.
Look at these capitalist scum that they like use workers or people of color for their own profit. And I honestly feel like we should enact a criminal penalty for any time somebody who's rich and white uses some marginalized group to defend their own interests. Like, you should be arrested for that.
Yeah, and how about the nerve of him to say narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged? What a gross fucking line. This man is 40, crying about his father, who's like 70, flying across the country to New York City to have to reprimand Rachel Zegler.
Platt hosts the, quote, Being Jewish podcast. And an actor whose credits include being the Ricardos and Trolls, The Beat Goes On.
He has only gotten stuff because of his dad. And you know what? You don't know what's sad about him? He has all the nepotism in the world, and he's still a fucking fail son.
That's what's wild to me. That's what's fucking wild to me. Like, how is it when you have the entire world as your oyster that you're not able to take advantage of that at all? That's crazy. I'm like surprised.
It's so embarrassing.
Like, how?
That's what I'm saying.
And like, what can you even say?
No, it's mortifying that it's like, what? You were in Trolls? You were in Trolls. Okay. Yeah, I get why you've maybe got some you've got some anger here. All right. So
okay,
that's
that
some context there. And then he had his dad come on his podcast, and they basically talked about how Hollywood needs to fight back against anti-Semitism, blah, 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 blah. So Ben Platt is the middle son, and he is the most successful. Okay. And I actually do think he's talented. I'm not just saying this because he's voted for Zohran and he's come out and said that like being Jewish is part of my identity, but Israel's not part of my identity.
He voted for Zohran.
I actually do think he's very talented. Now, did he look like a high schooler in Dear Evan Hansen? He voted for Zohran. I'm gonna say yes now. Before voting for Zohran, I had a different answer.
Like, he's unfortunate because he's got like kind of twink vibes, but he has shoulder hair.
He does have shoulder hair.
You know what I mean? And like, you have to balance. You've got to pick a lane, I feel like.
He is 31 years old, and he played a high schooler when he was like 27, and they did something weird to his face. And let's just say there's a reason a lot of people in the comments are going, you know what? He could pull off a high schooler. Okay, so Ben is married to Noah Galvin. He is also an actor. He's a theater kid. He's an actor and a singer. If you guys have not seen the movie Theater Camp, go watch it. It's amazing. Noah Galvin is in it. But Noah is pro-Palestine. And Ben recently... So Ben, when October 7th first happened, he, like a lot of people in Hollywood, put out a statement condemning Hamas, saying like, blah, 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 blah. But then went silent. And a lot of people on both sides were like, why aren't you using your celebrity? Right. So like, because a lot of people knew too that his family, very Zionist, his mother has raised millions of dollars for Israel. Like, Ben was radio silent. So you had Zionists being like, why aren't you saying anything, Ben? Why aren't you defending Israel? And then you had pro-Palestine people being like, Ben, come on, man. You're in theater. There's a lot of people around you who are advocating, a lot of people who who are advocating for Palestine. What's going on, buddy? So recently he came out and he defended Hannah Einbinder, star of Hacks, great show. If you haven't watched it, please do. Who she like is super, she's anti-ICE, anti-Israel. She's a Jewish actress in Hollywood who has been very vocally pro-Palestine. She was getting a lot of shit.
Of course.
Isn't that funny how it's like, oh, you're Jewish, and then people are gonna say oh no, you're not Jewish. Yeah.
Like, this is something that I think a lot of people have a hard time reckoning, is that you're either a person who believes in human rights and human dignity, or you're not.
Or you're not.
And like, it's painful to see people not, like, basically not care. And my reaction to that is, and they have to suffer consequences. Like, we have to be the people that are like, I don't want to fuck with you because you don't believe in basic human rights. And it's the same thing with politicians, right? Like, I'm advocating that people only rank Zohran because everyone else in that race sucks shit. And just so you know, ranked choice voting only kicks in when your candidate is eliminated. So if Zohran is in the top 2, he'll never be eliminated. So all those rankings you're doing are completely worthless. And when Brad Lander came out, and I don't know if you saw this, I just endorsed Brad Lander and said, you know what? He seems smart. You know, he's endorsing Zohran. He's kind of giving him credibility. And then he goes on Pod Save America and says like, oh, Zohran didn't condemn, globalize the intifada. Oh my God. When I, as a Jew, hear that as you want to kill Jews.
Yeah,
like, that's insane.
He's normalizing these lies around what globalize the intifada means. Yeah.
In the middle of and it's the middle of a genocide, in the middle of a Islamophobic attack on Zohran. That's where you find out what side people really are on. Your eyes are, the smoke clears. People are standing on the side that they're on, and people can spin a lot of bullshit. But in the moment when the question was asked, do you stand with Zohran and the pro-Palestine movement, or do you want to do this like concern troll backstabby bullshit to try to advance yourself? They did that. Mm-hmm. And so there's really, you have to have consequences for that. And we have this problem, the progressive movement, of us wanting so much to have champions that we grab onto people that don't want to fuck with us. And then when they fuck us over, we act like, well, I'm being reasonable and pragmatic. And the reason why our movement cannot build itself up is because we're not actually sticking to our guns. We're not actually picking people that are strong champions. And Zohran is showing you that you can be a strong champion, and that's actually, you will win. And that's why there's so many of these people are now attacking him and coming against him, is because if he pulls it off, it demonstrates that we aren't being purity spiral people.
Down.
Exactly.
Yes,
you don't have to back
thing.
down.
If you give them an inch, they're going to take the full mile. There is no engaging in good faith. There is no look, perfect example was fucking Riley Gaines, who, my God, the fact that we will never be rid of her. Riley
Gaines.
Yeah.
She finished fifth.
Simone, right?
Simone Biles, yeah.
This is a perfect example of you back down just a little bit, and that's what they want. That is what they want. And then she went on, of course, Riley went on the news and was talking about how, of course, Simone is apologizing because she knows she's wrong, blah, blah, blah. So never back down. Never back down.
Never back down.
And it's gross
of course,
with that.
Well, we've learned this multiple times, though, like with Bernie Sanders' campaign, and I don't know how much you follow UK politics, but Corbyn's campaign. Mm-hmm. These bad faith accusations of anti-Semitism are going to be what they do. And if you give them any oxygen, you will be tarred and feathered. Just say it's not real. There is no anti-Semitism on the left. Because definitionally, the left is anti-Semitism. We believe in human equality and dignity and pluralism. That's what being left means. It's a contradiction to be an anti-Semitic leftist. You cannot be an anti-Semitic leftist. So there are no anti-Semitic leftists, period. Anti-Semitism is on the right.
If you are anti-Semitic and on the left, you are not on the left.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. You do not belong on the left. There is no room for you, because having any, harboring any bigotry, it cancels out being a leftist. Like, you are falsely claiming leftist beliefs then. If you are anti-Semitic, if you are Islamophobic, that's it.
And it's a distraction. It's a distraction because you and I care about bigotry. You and I care about this stuff. So when somebody comes to us and says, hey, you're being anti-Semitic, or hey, you're being Islamophobic, or hey, you're being misogynistic, or hey, you're being racist, I am always open to that and going like, oh my God, am I doing harm? Like, please tell me, like, I want to listen. And it's a great way to derail me from talking about or organizing or doing some real shit, is if I'm doing some sort of like self-reflection, navel-gazy shit. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not. Sometimes I make mistakes. But the incessant way this is done, and the context in which it is being done, which is Israel claiming to represent the Jewish people, is committing a genocide. And our government is spending, our troops are literally fighting on battlefields to protect Israel right now. Our troops are literally helping them commit the genocide right now. Americans are doing a genocide right now.
Yes. And this is why, too, like, if you are on the left, you do not align with Jackson Tinkle, with Jake Shields, with Candace Owens, with Tucker Carlson. Like, these people are anti-Israel not because they are anti-apartheid, anti-genocide, because they actually are people who advocate for the rights of human beings. Of course not. Like, Candace Owens is an anti-Semite. Of course, what's his fuck at Daily Wire, Ben, had no problem with that until she started.
Ben Shapiro, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro, until she was very vocally critical of Israel. But when she was spewing anti-Semitism, there was no issue there. Isn't that funny? Isn't that
because
interesting?
they actually like it because it's part of the Zionist project, which is like, the more anti-Semitism you can foment in America and Europe, the more you can convince diaspora Jews that they have to return to Israel, because they're so worried about the demographics of Palestinians that they need more settlers. And if you foment anti-Semitism, you're fomenting a pull toward Israel. You're justifying the Israeli state. So for them, it's a win-win, right? Like, the anti-Semites will see our efforts to oppose Israel as actually bad. In fact, a lot of anti-Semites hate me and attack me because I'm against Israel, because they want to encourage Israel as a model for white supremacy. So like, oh, if Israel could do it ethno-state, why can't America?
Yeah.
Right? America's doing
they look at that and go,
that's what Richard Spencer said. Like, he literally said
like,
that.
Anti-Semites hate leftists who hate Israel because leftists who hate Israel hate anti-Semites as well. So we do not align. Like, it's so frustrating. And it's so frustrating too, because we spend so much time denouncing these anti-Semites, these white supremacists, while also, having to point out, like, the criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitic. Like, there's just so many balls that we're constantly juggling because of all that is required when you are on the left. Because it's not like, when you're on the right, you're just, I'm an anti-Semite, so I either support Israel because I am a Christian Zionist and I want the rapture to come, or I am, I'm anti-Semitic, and so I am, doing the thing. I'm doing the thing where Israel is equals Judaism, all Jews, and so therefore I am critical of Israel because I am an anti-Semite.
And
okay,
yeah. Sorry for getting us off on this tangent.
No, it's okay. I have to take my parents out shopping soon, so let me just wrap this up. But where were we?
But
okay,
we're wrapping the Platt family group chat.
We're wrapping the Platt family group chat. So Ben's husband Noah is pro-Palestine. He's a Zohran supporter. And then Ben recently, when he was defending Hannah Einbinder and said, my Jewish identity is, Judaism is important to my identity, but not Israel. Like, he made the difference between Judaism and Israel. And so this was yesterday, where he posted a picture of that he voted early for Zohran.
Hell yeah.
And of course, Zohran is being attacked, left and right for being an anti-Semite. Just so disgusting.
Well,
so
he's a Muslim man.
Why,
he's, you can call him an anti-Semite all you want, and that's no problem.
And so that's why I was like, oh, that family group chat is popping off right now, because Jonah Platt and Mark Platt are probably screaming at Ben and his husband Noah for being Zohran supporters. So that's the context there.
Oh,
that's
right.
That's right. That's right. I would
can we
give
make
anything
one more
to
point?
see those. Yeah.
Which is just like the reason why people are so virulently anti left on this issue in particular is we do actually represent the majority opinion in this country. People do not want to support genocidal Zionist colonization in the Middle East. Many Americans don't even realize how much money and how much military hardware we're expending for Israel. And the fact is, we're right. They are an apartheid state that is like pushing for something that would be in direct opposition to what American values purportedly are, which is like pluralism and equality and racial equality and sexual equality and religious equality and freedom. That is supposed to be America's principles. And Israel flies in the face of every single one of those things. And so the reason why they're so vitriolic against us is because they know we're right. And if we gain power, then it's going to be over for the apartheid state. Just like when anti-apartheid activism finally took hold in America, South African apartheid immediately ended. It was only propped up because of American support. And the same is true of Israel. And that's why, that's why the group chat is so vicious.
And I tell people all the time, too, you have to get off Twitter, talk to people in the real world, and you will get a much more accurate gauge of where Americans feel when it comes to Israel. I have talked to people whose parents are from Israel, who they have very deep ties to Israel. They are, American. They live in Los Angeles. I have talked to like liberal wine moms. I have talked to people on the right. Like, the general sense is, and here's the thing, you cannot do a genocide for 2 years. You cannot blow up and starve children for 2 years. And like, people have seen it. It's impossible to ignore. Like, you straight up
now Americans,
have to be living under
are
a
being
rock.
used to like set up fake
aid
sites where they massacre people with tanks.
Yes. And so it doesn't matter how much you are, like how much you know the history and like how to the left you are on a one state solution, that type of thing. The general consensus being, this is wrong. I don't support this. Like, I see this, and I do not support children being starved, being sniped, being blown up. I do not support another war in the Middle East. So like, if you are only on Twitter reading the bot comments, you will think like, oh my God, how could it be that everyone is still supporting Israel? It's not.
Just go on TikTok and you see real people and you realize, oh, that's actually, I've been spending more time on TikTok. I just started on there, and I have to say, the most annoying people are just people with literally private accounts and 0 followers. They're just bots. Whereas all the people that are like actually posting videos or posting comments and there's a face associated with the name or whatever, they're all pro-Palestine. And when you look at the polls, I don't know, did you see that poll last week about Democrats and leaning towards Palestine, where it was only like 10% of Democrats support Palestine? Or support Israel, and 60-some% support Palestine?
Look, my like tap into well-to-do liberal suburbanites is through my mother, who is like a top New York Times commenter. And when I went home recently, I had like a 3-hour, my mom hosted like a town hall in my parents' house where I spoke to this group of like, high income liberal suburbanites who have been very staunch Democratic Party supporters for a very long time.
I know the type very well.
And they are mad. They hate the Democrats. Like, my mother is saying things I've never heard her say. And so that's why I'm like, look, y'all, we got to direct this energy. Okay. In this moment now, this is where we mobilize the liberal wine moms. This is where the radicalization happens.
Well, that's how you know you're winning. Like, when the wine moms are starting to show up to your shit, it's like the No Kings protest. I want your thoughts on this, but I'll give you mine, which is basically whenever I see a bunch of liberals out on the street, I'm just saying, like, I want more of that.
Yes.
And,
look, the numbers are there. Okay. The numbers are there. But what has to happen is the organization, right? Is like, I don't think overall, if you look at the No Kings protests and go, look at all these dumb liberals with their dumb signs. Sure. But like, seize this opportunity. Like, okay, yeah, there's dumb signs, but like, people are in the streets. They have all this anger and this energy, and they want to put it somewhere.
What we should do is go to these protests and find the best signs. We should do the
wine mom
opposite.
Intifada.
Exactly. We should be and like, if you go to like even left-wing protests and you try to find the worst sign, of course the protest is going to look stupid. That's the dumbest sign.
There's always going to be if Kamala were president, we'd be at brunch. There's always going to be that one person who's got that sign. But the last thing I will say is like, look, And I agree with whoever said as cringy as they are, they've gotten the courage to show up, and it's a lot of people who are sitting there just typing shit out on the internet. I don't see you in the streets. I don't see you. I don't see you talking to liberals and trying to radicalize them. I don't see you.
Well, the more people that are on the streets, the more likely the police are going to oppress them, and the more they're going to be radicalized.
They experience themselves.
Exactly.
They experience themselves the fascism of law enforcement, right? Where they are like maybe still of the belief that the police keep us safe. And then they're at something like the No Kings protest, and they're seeing people get shot. They're seeing all of this.
It'll burn very brightly.
Abuse from, yes. At like 1,000%.
And
so that's me. Look. Yeah. And I think that that's because that's like the optimism, the like radical optimism of the will, where it's like, look, I am never going to sneer at numbers like this. I'm not going to. I just don't think, I think it's too nihilistic. I think it's too cynical.
I would say like 100%. There's a phrase from the prison notebooks, which is like pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. And you are not a socialist if you do not have optimism. Socialism is an optimistic belief system. If you're a pessimist, you're still trapped in a liberal worldview because you deny your own power, you deny the agency that the working class has, and you are not looking to form a collective politics. Because if you really understand our society, if you understand just how much power is in the hands of regular people versus the elite, then you will be optimistic. Now, you may not live to see it in your lifetime, but when I see stuff like the No Kings protest, that is an opportunity to go to organizable masses and start talking to people. Now, are you going to get everybody on the first pass? No. Typically, it takes 6 or 7, contacts and experiences for people to change. And so that's what we should be focusing on.
I was a liberal for a very long time. I worked for the Democratic Party. I was dyed in the wool. I was with her. Okay, all that shit. And now I'm here. So I am a testament to like the journey that you can undergo, and like everyone is at a different point. Okay, a lot of you like to pretend that as a baby you were born, with the hammer and a sickle, that you were born, reading the Communist Manifesto, like red diaper baby. But that's not true. Okay.
Chat, if this woman can become a leftist, anybody can.
Yeah. Okay. My old tweets have been pulled up to humiliate me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even embarrassed, because that shows how, the journey that I've been on. So go ahead, go pull up my old tweets where I'm like, Kamala speaking
you want to
me...
hear something super fucked up? I have a secret that only I can't tell you. It needs to be like behind paywalls. I have a secret that is so bad from my political past that I can't even say it. It's too embarrassing. I'll tell you. Maybe in private, and then you can tell me whether I should ever admit it. But it's bad.
Okay.
It's on your level. It's on your level of liberalism. Okay. It's that embarrassing. Yeah. Sorry. I decided to pull it back. I pulled it back at the last second because I don't want to get embarrassed.
I mean, look, the first fight Will Neff and I ever got in our relationship was over Hillary Clinton. We got a fight over Hillary Clinton.
I was a Bernie supporter in 2016.
I was a Bernie supporter. In 2016, he was a Bernie bro, and I was with her, and it almost ended our relationship.
Like oh wow, that's funny. I'm with Will. And no, I was, in politics before the Bernie search. So I was one of those people who like said fuck you to all my connections and all my like work, and was like, no, this is the right decision, this is the right direction. And that's when I went in that direction. And that was, that's a difficult thing to do, is to like say, hey, because you were part of the machine, how contemptuous they were of Bernie.
Oh my God, no, I know. I was still working for the Dems when I moved to LA in 2016. Like I was in contact with my friends who were working in like Chicago for Hillary the night of the election, and early on they were sending me internal numbers, and it was not it was not good. And I remember being at the Abbey and everyone, like every time a state that was always going to be for Hillary was called, they'd be like, yeah, ew.
Do you know where I was that night?
Where?
So I was heading a canvas that had like buses coming in from volunteers from New York to come canvas this like super swing area in Pennsylvania. And so I had like a team of like Hillary Clinton field organizers, you know, young women with me as I was like, you know, we were going through all the GOTV packets. And let's just say they did not take the L well. It was a pretty bad night. You know what I mean? Like, damn, Donald Trump won. So I wasn't having fun. I wasn't in some party. I wasn't in an elite party. I was, you know, putting people back on the bus back to New York.
Yeah. I had fun at the Abbey for about 2 seconds before I started getting texts. But yeah, so anyway, that is, look, I am a testament to the journey that each of us needs to undertake, you know, and I will just say, like, look, you guys, this is a moment where if you are, you know, at the No Kings protest, they were surrounded by signs that said, you know, fuck ICE, that said free Palestine. Like, you have people who are not on the left who are being surrounded by this activism that is an opportunity for them to then join the cause, right? Like, all these issues being connected and this opportunity to show how it's all connected, where it's like, if you are against the ICE raids, then you are against the, you know, the fascism of Israel. Like, if you are against the fascism of Donald Trump, you're against the fascism of Israel. All of this being connected, seeing how, you know, the IDF trains cops in America, that the NYPD has, you know, an office in Tel Aviv. Like, these are all connections that need to be made for people who have not yet gotten there.
Yeah, yeah, and hey, if we can change, anybody can change, right? Like, that's my feeling. And by the way, I am not against people converting. Sometimes people think of me as like very harsh toward like liberals or whatever, and the answer is I'm not. I'm harsh toward liberal politicians and liberal influencers. Basically, the people that are paid to keep you from having more radical politics. It's not the same thing as a regular person. If a regular person who's a liberal wants to talk to me in good faith and have a conversation, I'm 100% in favor of that. I will never go after those people harshly. But if somebody is like a paid shill for the Democratic Party establishment, I'm not going to pretend like they're convincible. You know what I mean? Like, Olivia Giuliana can't go, you know what? Mike was right about this. Actually, Palestine was important. She's paid to say the opposite. So there's no reason to like ever pretend like we're going to have some sort of like heartfelt conversation. That's not true. And we need to understand who our actual opponents are, because those people will self-persuade. Like, if it looks like we're going to win, all the opportunists are going to be trying to get into the bandwagon. You don't have to spend time on those scum. They'll try to insert themselves like a rat on a ship. So, you know, I am actually not that mean to regular liberals. Some chatter was saying that my problem is Mike is mean to like new liberals or like liberals that are recently converting. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I am not.
No, it's anyone with influence and power who is pushing, who's not only pushing liberalism, but is anti-leftism, right? The leftist movement. So it's like a twofold thing, right?
My wife calls you the yelling guy. I mean, I occasionally do yell. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just like to get a little worked up over really bad things that are incredibly bad policy or bad, you know, bad arguments or a bad direction, because I feel like all of us have this anger, and it's nice to be a little cathartic, a little, you know, performative. You could call it performative, but I just like to feel that emotion of fuck these people. That being said, this conversation was good vibes because Mahmoud Khalil is to be released from ICE detention according to a recent order.
Oh, you know what? Also, sorry, last thing, Ben Platt, he was out there saying that they should release Mahmoud Khalil. So,
and there we have it.
And there we have it. All right. Well, I gotta go. Take the
Hang
parents.
out with the rents. You know, you
take
can
the
show them
parents
more
out.
delivery services.
Yeah, look, we my mom is out here ready to join the cause.
She's like, Caroline, it's 11. You're still in your robe.
It's
like college
take
still.
Care. I'm like, look, okay, I've been up for 4.5 hours, but anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Love and solidarity to y'all, and Mike, see you later.
See ya. Yeah, I'll probably see you later.
Bye everyone.
All right, chat. It's always nice to have Caroline on. Friend of the show, friend of my friend, just friend, Caroline Kwan, the amazing, talented, intelligent, charismatic Caroline. That's what I call her. Charismatic Caroline.
Mike. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. But you may want to start changing your ways.